first snow day of the year, and I have a story about that. In Gloucester, Virginia, there's a place called Church Hill, and basically it's been in this family since the 1600s. It started with Mordecai Cook and was called Mordecai's Mount, and it eventually, the family name turned into Throckmorton and Taliaferro, and that's where we get Elizabeth from, Throckmorton. So Elizabeth and her father traveled to London, and that's where she met a young Englishman and fell madly in love with him. They became engaged and decided to write to each other about wedding plans and all this stuff upon Elizabeth's return back to Virginia. So her father did not like this. He thought that this young man was just after their family money. So he basically intercepted all of the letters, and the two never heard from each other again. And this very much broke Elizabeth's heart. So basically, because of the broken heart, she became sick and kind of just withered away, and eventually she fell into a sort of coma, and like people did back in those days, they thought she had died, and so they buried her in the family plot. Now, it was a cold November night, and I guess there was a servant there who felt slighted by the family and knew that Elizabeth had been buried in her jewels. So he went and dug up this fresh grave, got into her coffin, and started to remove her jewelry, her necklaces, her bracelets, and then he tried to remove her ring. Well, he couldn't get it off, so he took out his knife and cut her finger off. Lovely. And this woke up Elizabeth. She sat up and started screaming, and considering they thought that she was dead, this so frightened the servant that he ran off and was never seen again. Now, poor Elizabeth was dressed in just like a thin white burial dress and her burial shroud. And now she's bleeding. So she crawls out of the grave, crawls, across, the field from the family plot to the house. And she's so weak, and she's bleeding, and she's cold. And so she starts scratching and kind of just weakly knocking on the door. And her father, who was just sitting by the fire, didn't really think anything of it. He thought maybe it was just one of the dogs trying to get in. You're talking about a heartbroken man who just lost his daughter, and who knows. So basically her, pleas to get inside went unheard. And Elizabeth froze to death. And she was found the next morning covered in several inches of snow, a pool of blood around her, and it was tragic. So basically, it's said that on the first snow day of the year, the family still hears the rustling of skirts fly down the stairs. They hear wood being put in the fireplaces, and then they hear like the crackling sound of a fire going in these fireplaces. And when they go to check in these rooms, everything is dark and cold and quiet, and nothing is on fire or anything like that. Sometimes the family, during storms and stuff like that, they'll see that people will see that the house is lit even though no one is home, and when they go to check, everything is of course dark. And apparently violets will grow in the place where Elizabeth had died, right at the door of the family home. More gruesome, sometimes when the first snow is coming, they will see a trail of blood coming from the family plot to the front door. And she is called the First Snow Ghost. So very, very tragic, sort of love story, kind of gruesome at times. So I thought I would share that on our first snow day of the year. Have a nice day, y'all.